Hey, welcome. It's funny. We all say we want to be happy. We spend our lives chasing pleasure, chasing success, looking for connection. And yet, how often do we find ourselves stuck? Just stuck in these patterns of suffering, making the same choices that lead us right back to the pain we say we're trying to escape? It's this really weird puzzle, right? At the very core of what it means to be human. And today, we're going to try and piece it together.
That's the big question, isn't it? Why do we sabotage our own happiness? Why do we stay in that job we absolutely hate, or repeat the same exact mistakes in our relationships, or find ourselves drawn to things we know are going to hurt us? If being happy is the goal, then why are we so incredibly good at getting in our own way?
So, to even begin to untangle this thing, we've got to look at the most obvious answer, the usual suspect. For more than a century, the standard explanation for what makes us tick has been, well, elegantly simple. We are creatures designed to search for pleasure.
This idea, which was famously laid out by Sigmund Freud, is called the pleasure principle. And, it just makes sense, doesn't it? We eat when we're hungry, we sleep when we're tired, we look for comfort and joy. It's a really powerful and logical way to look at things, and it seems to explain almost everything we do. But that word, almost, that's where all the trouble starts.
Right, because if the pleasure principle was the whole story, those self-sabotaging loops just shouldn't exist. We should feel pain, learn from it, and then never, ever do it again. But we do, all the time. And this huge contradiction is what forced Freud himself to look deeper, to go beyond his own biggest idea.
So, where did Freud find the clue that would totally upend his own theory? Well, it wasn't in some quiet, comfy office. It was in the aftermath of just unimaginable devastation. The evidence that would change everything came from the minds of soldiers returning from war.
After the First World War, Freud was treating patients with what we would now call PTSD. Now, according to his own pleasure principle, these men should have been doing everything in their power to push away their horrific traumatic memories. But he saw the exact opposite. They were unconsciously replaying these terrible events over and over again in their nightmares and flashbacks.
And this is what led him to identify this powerful kind of dark force he called the repetition compulsion. Now, his theory was that the mind wasn't just torturing itself for no reason. It was actually a desperate, unconscious attempt to go back, to somehow gain control over a moment where they had absolutely none. It's like the mind is trying to hit rewind, to go back to that awful moment, and somehow, this time, win, to finally master the trauma.
So you see the conflict here, right? It's a total tug of war. The pleasure principle is pulling us toward comfort and ease, but this strange compulsion is pushing us right back into the fire, chasing this feeling of mastery it might never ever find. These two drives are in direct opposition. They can't both be in charge, which, well, that opens up a pretty unsettling question.
Think about that. What if avoiding pain isn't our only prime directive? What if there's another fundamental drive at work inside of us, one that isn't aiming for more life, more excitement, more pleasure, but for something else entirely? Okay, so this is where things get really wild. This is where Freud takes this huge, controversial, and honestly, kind of mind-bending leap. He proposed a second, equal, and opposite instinct that exists within all of us. An idea so strange, he called it the death drive. Now hold on, this doesn't literally mean we all have a death wish. It's a lot more subtle than that. Think of it more like a cosmic pull towards simplicity. Life is all about building things up, right? It's complex, it's full of tension and striving. Freud saw this other drive, which he called Thanatos, as the part of us that just wants to release all that tension, to just let go and return to the quiet, simple, tension-free state before it all began.
So suddenly, you have this brand new picture of the mind. It's not a happy machine seeking pleasure, it's a battlefield. On one side, you have Eros, the life instinct, always pushing us to connect, to create, to feel the buzz and tension of being alive. But always, pulling in the other direction, is Thanatos, the death instinct, whispering for us to separate, to find quiet, to seek the ultimate calm.
Freud even had a name for this ultimate goal, the nirvana principle. It's this wild idea that maybe our deepest drive isn't for some huge fireworks display of happiness, but for that profound silence when all the noise finally stops. The goal isn't the big loud party, it's that perfect quiet stillness after everyone's gone home. It's a really shocking thought when you let it sink in.
Okay, I know, this all might sound super abstract, some 100-year-old theory from Vienna. But what if it's not? What if this quiet pull towards a tensionless state is still shaping our lives every single day in ways we don't even realize?
Let's really think about this for a second. That impulse to sabotage a great relationship just as it's getting serious, could that be Thanatos resisting the tension of true connection? An addiction cycle is destructive, sure, but it also offers a temporary escape, a moment of zero stress. Even clinging to a misery you know can feel safer, less tense, than striving for something better you don't. And what is doom scrolling? Just endlessly scrolling through bad news, if not a weird, passive way of flirting with disillusion and negativity?
So this is the question it really leaves us with, for you and for me. When we make our choices, are we always moving toward pleasure and excitement, or are we sometimes, quietly, unconsciously, actually moving toward the absence of tension, toward a profound and maybe even destructive kind of peace?
Look, this battle between our life drive and our death drive, it could be one of the most important hidden dramas going on inside all of us. If you're into exploring these kinds of massive ideas that shape who we are, I'd love for you to subscribe to Mindscapes by Faizu on YouTube. We do deep dives like this all the time. Thanks for diving into this with me.